Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another jam-packed daily market update. Before I get into this update, if you guys can do me a massive favor and leave a like and a comment throughout this video, if you find anything informative, enjoyable, and entertaining, it is much appreciated. And if you're not already a subscriber, please do consider doing so, as we release an update just like this one to help you stay up to date with the latest and greatest happening in crypto every single day at 1 p.m. UK time. Guys, we've got some huge announcements coming in the coming weeks. You are going to see Allincrypto everywhere. It is going to become your one-stop shop for crypto, so please do watch out for those. I'm very excited. We've been working very hard throughout this market to bring you guys everything you need as crypto investors to stay up to date, the tools to manage perhaps your investments and other such things. But stay tuned for that. We have a lot to get into, as always. We are going to start things off with India's finance minister talking about global frameworks for crypto regulations proposed under India's G20 presidency. We have been playing a number of clips over the past week to help you guys stay focused on what is happening here with the cryptocurrency market. It is changing the world and being adopted by everyone: governments, central banks, enterprises, institutions, and anyone and everyone in between, including retail. It's coming, guys, and we're seeing a lot of institutional involvement. However, a lot of it is not public, certainly in the likes of the United States, where you don't even have clear regulatory framework. It is coming, and it will catapult this industry into the tens of trillions. We played a clip from Citibank, the other day, where the individual that was being interviewed essentially said this industry is going to be measured by the trillions and billions of users by 2023. And we're seeing lots of people talk about 2023, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that far away. It might seem a while away, but we are positioned now for that adoption. And we've got some really great videos coming out this week to kind of help cement that. So we're going to start there. We're going to look at, of course, Cathie Wood's ARK Invests and 21 shares filed for the first official Ethereum futures, Ethereum ETF. This is a trend we're going to see continue, and many of your altcoins will end up with ETFs. Some of them will be packaged ETFs, like you see with Grayscale's non-Ethereum product, and so on and so forth. Then we're going to move on to some price analysis. We're going to talk about the death cross. Ooh. And then, of course, the flip side of this is perhaps a golden cross for the DXY. The DXY is what I would say now in a pretty confirmed and strong uptrend. We have said for the month of September, I'd expect some more downside continuation for crypto. The question is it going to be violent, or is it just going to be a drift off, which could sort of invalidate potentially more severe downside? The stock market as well looks like it wants to have a bit more of a warranted rest. It's done absolutely spectacular. And the dollar seems to continue to want to go higher. And then we'll talk a little bit about inflation. We're seeing that rise up across the board. And then we'll finish things off on some forward earnings expectations for the S&P. Let's dive into the first clip, guys. We've only got one clip, the only clip of this video, which of course is India's finance minister talking about crypto and framework adoption and regulations. It's coming, guys. It's here. Get ready.
Crypto threat as well as an opportunity. But crypto is also an example that I use later to say how, unless global cooperation works out well, you're not going to be able to have a responsible financial ecosystem which can regulate it as well. So India's presidency has put on table in the G20 issues related to regulating or understanding that there should be a framework for handling issues related to crypto assets. Active discussions are happening. Content-rich papers from institutions like IMF, FSB, OECD are all being discussed on various issues, and on crypto, IMF and FSB have also given their synthesis paper.
There you have it, guys. The world is moving towards crypto. Threat, but an opportunity at the same time. Certainly a threat towards governments and towards central banks, certainly in regards to Bitcoin. And actually, it's a threat to many industries in regards to removing unnecessary third-party, supposedly trusted institutions. This is kind of what Satoshi spawned with the Bitcoin white paper. Let's move on from that, guys. Yesterday, and this is the official filing, I'll leave a link to this in the description, the United States Security and Exchange Commission Form S1 registration statement under the Securities Act of 1933, ARK 21 shares Ethereum ETF. Exact name of registrant as specified in the characters. Then goes on to list what the ETF would entail. This is absolutely huge, guys. And this is a Bitcoin spot ETF. Will be approved. That's why you're seeing all the largest financial institutions in the world looking to offer one. And then you will have, I think ARK officially filed for their first ETF in 2021, believe it or not. I was actually finding out the Winklevoss twins, they filed for an exchange traded product for Bitcoin over 10 years ago. So maybe maybe we can give them the crown for being the first. But you will get a Bitcoin spot ETF, and then you will get an Ethereum ETF. We've already got one in Canada, and then you'll end up with your altcoin ETF, baskets of them, so on and so forth. This industry hasn't even gone anywhere in the grand scheme of things. A $1 trillion industry that is going to change the entire world. It's going to be in the tens. Get ready for that, ladies and gentlemen. So this was absolutely huge news that gripped the headlines yesterday. As I want to try and keep this video as short and sweet as possible, let's move on. So, breaking death cross incoming for Bitcoin and golden cross incoming for the DXY. Many of these influencers probably enjoy golden other things, but you know, what does this mean? Okay, not calling out this individual here. I'm unfamiliar with him. The Bitcoin death cross. Let's go and take a look at the historical view of the death cross, which I believe is the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. And let's go and put it on the charts and see what this means. We've already got it. So you've got the 50 here, and then you've got the 200 here. And you had a golden cross here, which should signal significant upside. And allegedly, you're heading now for, sorry, this is the weekly, guys. Forgive me. So you had a golden cross here, which did signal significant upside. And then you are looking at potentially forming a death cross, the dreaded death cross. You had a death cross here, which did indeed signal downside. You had a golden cross here, which didn't signal upside. And then you had a death cross here, which at the point that you actually had that death cross, Bitcoin went down 11%. So maybe that happens in the month of September, which has a mean for Bitcoin over 11 years of going down on average 6%, which would take Bitcoin down, which is this kind of dribble down theory that we've got before you see that upside continuation. It's not the end of the world, guys. I've seen people saying, oh, this means 50% downside, this means that, this means the other. The more alarming metrics for determining Bitcoin's downside are things to me like USDT dominance, which of course has been highlighted by the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Francis Hunt, the market sniper. Well worth a follow, one of the real ones in the crypto space. This was, of course, a golden cross. You had your death cross here. And actually, this death cross happened here. And Bitcoin, again, went down 14% before then going on an epic rally. You had a golden cross here. You didn't even see any upside. You had a death cross here, which at this point you were here. You saw this short-term upside, and then you went significantly higher. Golden cross here, death cross here, so on and so forth. So it's not the be all and end all, in my opinion. It is something to watch. It hasn't even formed yet. The flip side of that, of course, is Zedala, which we've been watching very closely. Dollar strength, generally right now, crypto and stock market weakness. This hasn't even formed a golden cross. Although actually you could say, barring here, and a few other points of chop, like this entire period over here, that typically this could mean significant upside for the dollar. I'm now looking at the dollar more importantly from a price point of view. Really technically as this being now potentially a stage 1 breakout. It seems very, very strong. This is nothing short of an uptrend. It will rest at some point. Does it continue to go higher in the meantime? I'm not 100% sure why the dollar's doing this, given the fact that I think there's a high probability of no rate hike in the next meeting, which is 14 days away. We've got CPI on the 13th. Then there is another one. And also, if you look at the labour stats, they've all been revised significantly down. So, but we know it's a Ponzi-anomic world. With charts, it's often best not to try and explain them, but to take them as the truth, because they are money at the end of the day, and what people are or are not doing with them. So this is a headwind. this is why we say, okay, expect a bit more downside for crypto. You've got inflation. That oil is something that we were very early on this in regards to looking at this as a stage 1 into a stage 2. Join the Patreon to learn about stage analysis. We've also got like natural gas, which looks okay, potentially could be basin. This is a daily time frame, so we can't really get much out of it. Things like wheat, which are doing pretty terribly, but you know, you'll maybe be looking at a resurgence going into winter, so on and so forth. So you've got too much headwinds for crypto for it to really show that much strength. This, of course, is the S&P, and you could be in for something like this with the S&P, I think. So it could take a longer rest for certainly the remainder of September into October. The markets have seasonality. It's Bitcoin, for example. It's also September, a bad month for the stock market. A bad month also for views on platforms like YouTube. Again, people move markets, people are transitioning, getting back to school, getting back to work, so on and so forth. It plays through in the market. So you could end up with some sort of a similar, and you're still on my face here, forgive me guys, schematic. What do we want here? We want bar patterns to, you know, this, but potentially on a bit of a higher scope. And then that would probably signal a little bit more downside for Bitcoin. You know the plan for Bitcoin. Ultimately, you hold support, you don't go short. You lose support, you go short. We've looked at a number of possibilities. We've looked at this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave completion into what could be an A, B, and a C, or potentially an A, B, and then a C, which would tie in with potentially a head and shoulders pattern for Bitcoin that would give you targets around about here. So that's really the play. At what point do we flip short-term bullish? Remember, mid to long-term, we're very, very bullish. Well, that would be if Bitcoin did something like this and started, I would say, not only getting back above these levels, but starting to hold the top side of this range. And certainly you take that 30K range, it's full send. So we'll see what happens. The death cross, I don't think, is a massive indication that you should be worried. I think things like USDT dominance is to be given a lot more credibility and alarmingness. Again, this plan still remains the play. You know, your breaks certainly here, you're looking at significantly more upside. Obviously, you can fail this. It's still to play out really one way or the other. You're kind of at no point of control yet, in my opinion. But we'll see what transpires. We've gone on for 12 minutes now. Let's wrap things up. Of course, another headwind against Bitcoin and crypto is inflation. This is Turkey's inflation rate. And you can see this was the trend. Who did we show you yesterday? Was it the Netherlands? We showed you a few places where you're seeing these sort of real volatile surges in inflation. We know the UK or the US is having a bit of a kind of sticky period, expected to be higher. Then we're going to finish things off. Forward earnings expectations March higher. S&P index net 12-month earnings per share following the bear market. And then, of course, the bull. We'll see what transpires. There is a lot to watch, guys. But don't take your eye off the prize, and that is that crypto is the next best thing. It's here to stay, and it's going to be in the tunes of the tens of trillions as a market. And we're nowhere near that just yet. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. If you enjoyed the content, like us, appreciate it, so comments, share it around. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next.